I'm Vicki Hogarth, and this is NewsBreak26 on location in St. Andrews at the Liberal Caucus event. We're starting the news tonight on Grand Manan, where Mayor Bonnie Moore says Islanders aren't giving up after losing the island's only bank, Scotiabank, just 2 weeks ago.
Businesses, I think, so far are doing okay. But of course, when the summer ferry schedule, when we go back to just the one ferry, that complicates things for people traveling as well. So I think it's really going to be, this fall is going to tell the tale of how we're going to adjust to this and see how we go. But Grand Mananers are resilient, and we'll figure out a way to do this one way or another.
On the third and final day of the caucus meeting here in St. Andrews, I had the opportunity to ask Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland about how they are protecting rural Canadians, such as Grand Manan Islanders, from the loss of banking services. Canadian banks are protected from foreign competition, but Canadians in remote but prosperous locations like Grand Manan Island in New Brunswick aren't protected from their banks closing down. Why protect the banks but not offer Canadians a reciprocal protection to be served? And are you worried about how bank closures will affect population growth in rural Canada?
Canada has one of the most stable banking systems in the entire world. When the 2008 banking crisis came and went, Canadian banks stood strong and Canadians did better because of the structures, the institutions, and the frameworks that we created around Canadian banks. Canadians who have their savings in Canadian banks are protected because of that, and that's really something that we take very seriously as a government. For further comment, I'm happy to turn to our Finance Minister to address that issue more directly.
The fact that Canada has a very well, I would even say, strictly regulated banking sector with high reserve requirements and pretty tough mortgage rules is something that Canadians today should be taking a lot of comfort from. We have a system that is very stress tested, and as the global economy is going through a lot of stress, it's like, here we are on a wharf, it's like a big life jacket for Canadians. Now, the issue of having actual bank branches in rural communities, and particularly right now in Atlantic Canada, is one that our government is very aware of. We have been having some conversations with banks about it and some conversations with rural communities. And, we're committed to continuing to listen to Canadians about that.
Minister Freeland followed up with CHCO to say that she is aware of the situation on Grand Manan and is looking further into it. Finally, Prime Minister Trudeau declared that Monday, September 19th, would be a federal holiday in honor of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II's funeral.
We have also chosen to move forward with a federal holiday on Monday. We will be working with the provinces and the territories to try and see that we're aligned on this. There are still a few details to be worked out. But declaring an opportunity for Canadians to mourn on Monday is going to be important.
I suppose it's nice that a lot of the news is covering her. It feels like we're sort of home from home. We did put the TV on a bit, and it had a lot about the Queen and how important she'd been. And it is great to see the flags at half-mast and the way people are actually commemorating her life, and things like the twinkle she always had in her eye. So it's just beautiful to see it.
Books of condolences for the Queen are available for Canadians to sign in municipal offices across the country. Prime Minister Trudeau also took the time on Tuesday, his final day in St. Andrews, to meet with hundreds of members of the public who came out near the wharf to see him speak.
All right, thank you.
That's all the news I have for you. For more stories and online exclusives, follow us on Facebook at CHCO.TV.
A news and public affairs production of CHCO-TV, New Brunswick's only source for independent community television.